This podcast, bussin'.
Welcome to this.podcast. I'm your friendly host, Jay, joined by my friend, and we got two special guests.
Oh!
He's back, y'all. We got Co.
Man, what we talking about?
And we got Uncle Damo.
Hi, my name is Uncle Damo.
How you been, Uncle Damo? It's been a while.
Well, I'm glad that I don't know that I'm glad to be recognized as a guest, but
It feels
get
like it, man. That's how long you've been out.
Hey,
But you've been handling business, you know. I'm not going to hold you.
you got to take care of first things first, brother.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Well,
Great husband, man.
great husband?
Yes, he threw a awesome.
Oh,
party.
yeah. He's been on this shit.
He's been on this shit.
He has. From the Jamaica trip, it was great to see him out there.
Yes.
And then he was looking fly and fresh.
Oh,
He had his Jesus outfit from the sandals all the way up. Like he had the tie knots right here looking like $1 million. It had the slits on the side. I ain't never seen that shit. It was like slits.
You know why you ain't seen it before? Because I got it tailored.
Hi, my name is Uncle Damo.
I mean, he was Jamaica themed, wasn't he?
Out. And he was, man, every morning. Like he
Clean.
was up. But no, he was up early. Like from 8
No,
to
it's
2.
7.
Yeah, see, 7 to 2, shutting it down, party, drinks, having a great time.
Yeah.
Being Damo.
Every outfit was Jamaica themed.
It was.
He had a theme outfit for every day.
What,
Green, yellow, and
call,
black.
You call swim trunks?
Yeah,
No,
man.
no. Like you had they were patterned.
Yes.
Like,
Okay.
like
Jamaica
That's fair.
flag.
jungle flag, Jamaican bush flagged. I don't know how to call that.
You right here in this area, but yeah.
Weird.
That's where the bush be. I'm with you, man. I'm not gonna hold you.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey, Wade gonna get
shout out
you.
to Wade.
We're gonna come after
Love
you.
you, Wade. You my dog.
But nah, you was just all you were missing were the dreads.
Yeah.
You respect, man.
Respect.
You was out there killing it. And then Cole was getting into the party. So the surprise party for Letitia. Shout out to Letitia. Happy birthday. And you were
times.
killing it there.
Good times.
Man, had the highlight of the show the party was the 360.
Oh, that was dope.
That was.
The 360 photo booth. You ever been in one?
Yeah.
That was awesome, man.
It was playing DJ Khaled and It Goes in a Circle. I think everybody from the party was on Instagram with it.
Yeah. That
And
was cool.
I got a bunch of likes from that. I got a bunch. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about that social media, NIL, name, image, and likeness. And our special guest today is from Long Beach, California, by way of San Diego. He went to San Diego State, played wide receiver,
Baller.
drafted by the Miami Dolphins, and is now the owner of Athlete LLC, which helps athletes organize and operate like a business. Welcome, JR Tolver, to the show.
That's a pretty formal introduction.
Yeah, man, we try to be professional here, you know.
Every once in a while.
And we got an audience. What's up, y'all? Say something. Hey, come on, clap it up. Like, come on, act like y'all want to be here. Yeah.
Got my daughters here.
Got the right daughters.
Yeah, and then Kyrie for the fam is showing love. Hit me up out the blue and was
Shout
like,
out to
"Hey,
Kyrie.
I've seen the podcast and I want to come down and support y'all at any point in time." So,
Awesome.
That is
respect.
awesome.
The reason why Damo has the Vans on.
Yeah, he look a little. You look fresher today than normal.
I'll take it.
You do. What's up with that, JR? Is that because he knew you were coming on the show and he was going to take you out and show you a good time?
Nah, I think it's the babies.
Oh, yeah,
I think he got his babies here.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Well, let's get into you, man, because you know what's impressive about you before we get into your business is you playing football. I didn't play football. These guys up here played, and they remind me of it every show that they played football. And your senior year was pretty impressive, my guy. You had 128 catches, 1,785 yards, and 13 touchdowns, man.
The reason.
And was all Mountain West Conference first team. Yo, I gotta give you a round of applause for that, That's what's up.
Hey, you know what the stamp was?
What was that?
Mountain West Conference.
Wait. So I think Courtney could say that, but come on, man, coming from you, that's a cold blow.
Big Sky.
The Big Sky.
Sky West,
Is that where he's
Sky
at?
West.
the great big sky.
Hey,
Double A.
the Great Big Sky. Hey, anytime I talk stuff about JR, that boy pulls out receipts like this.
Oh, he got some on his
Oh,
phone?
he has them saved in his Google Photos, and they'll send
on
it.
deck.
You be letting them
You gotta
know.
remind
like,
them. Yeah, it was a while ago, so sometimes I gotta pull them out.
Well, you a good size. What do you be like, 6'3"?
Nah, I'm 6'1" and some change.
Are you?
Yeah.
You still a good size though, man.
Yeah, but
So,
128 catches in the season.
dude,
That's nothing to sneeze.
bat an
And your
eye
boy
at.
on the other side had how many?
115.
Yeah.
Yeah, we broke two NCAA records my senior year.
So what were y'all just basically run and shoot?
Nah, so we was one of the
running
first
guns.
teams
Yeah.
that was no huddle.
Got
So
it.
instead of huddling up, we run a play. We stand on the line of scrimmage. Tom Kraft was our coach at the time. He just sit back, scan the defense, send a play in.
Cheating.
Basically cheating.
Got it.
And so a lot of teams started kind of doing it after we did it. But yeah, man, it's pretty easy to pick apart a defense throwing the ball when you know when they lined up in.
How'd that translate to the NFL though?
I think for me, because I had so many catches, it was really just understanding how to, read coverages and make plays in all situations. We wasn't going no huddle in the NFL. But I think my experience, catching the football and again, having to be in a position where you hear a play and then 5, 6, 7 seconds, you got to run it, right? So, like, the ability to process the information and execute the play was
Being a little
I
bit
think
quicker.
that helped me a lot,
That's cool, man. And speaking of that, so talk about like what practice was like, because I imagine we all talk about, running we don't talk about it, but when you see it on TV, it seems like you have to be in shape in order to do that. Like, so it seems like it's football being played different, and I would love y'all to get into it because this is y'all sports. But
it's definitely different offensively speaking. It puts a lot of pressure on the defense to be in better shape than you, and most likely they're not going to be.
got it.
Because we practice that every day.
Okay.
So we was tempo all the time, right? So, we'd come up here to Air Force or Colorado State, and we're supposed to be the ones sucking wind because it's at altitude. We play at
Right.
sea level. But them boys on the other side would be sucking wind. Just because, again, from a tempo standpoint, that's not typically how practices are run. It's not typically what you experience in games. So for us, it was cool. We were conditioned for it, and we kind of was able to use it as an advantage.
So I want to go a level deeper, and then we could get out of this. But what a percentage of it is like, I'm just in better, like it's almost like a fight, right? And somebody's getting tired versus like, I'm going to outthink you and outthink you. It's more like a boxing match of like, I'm gonna just wear you down. Is it a little bit of both?
So I'll give you a good example. So my senior year, this year we're talking about, we played Fresno State
Okay.
on national TV. This was the year after they had kind of like burst on the scenes as a contender. So we played them on national TV, and we was going no huddle. And the game was close. It was 10-3 or 10-6 or something like that. And we were down. And I was on our sideline. And, again, we'd run a play, get back on the line of scrimmage. And I looked over, and I saw the corner. You know the stance, hands on knees. Got that.
I got him.
And I was standing right next to Coach Kraft, and I was like, Blue Jay. That was our call, right?
Got it.
Because I knew at that point there's no way he was going to be able to keep up with me down the side. I mean, he was sucking wind. So I think that was another piece of the puzzle. Like, and Damo would tell you, I mean, when your opponent is tired,
Okay.
right? Like, when it's like you got that one play where you're like, man, I can literally impose my will on this person because this play, I got way more energy than he does. Yeah. We would see that 7, 8, 9, 10 times a game and try to take advantage of it when we could.
Got it. Hence, probably why you got a lot of touchdowns.
You know where I learned that? In wrestling. Just big boys wrestling, hands on their knees. And my coach was like,
Whoa, cowboy.
what? No, they.
Nah, I'm fucking. Shout out to Wade again. That's
Shout out to Wade. We ain't moving this fast.
All right, yeah.
Nah, go ahead, man.
And you could just see it in their face. And it's like you have a window. It's a small window. And
Gotta
just
take
go.
it.
Oh, you go
gotta take
for
it.
it.
Got it.
Yep. And I think that I tell people all the time, wrestling from an individual sport perspective taught me the most out of any sport that I've ever played.
You got to be in super shape to wrestle, I hear. Like,
Yeah.
I never wrestled, but like
that was my claim to fame
got it.
of being in like a heavyweight wrestler that was in shape.
Great shape.
And it'd be the second round, and them boys would, and then you just go.
That's what's up, man.
Yo.
Well, I still want to stay on football because, that's what it is today. I'm gonna let y'all have fun.
Oh yeah, let's have fun.
So, we had a pod about a couple weeks ago. We were talking about a topic on I Am Athlete, and just talking about coaches versus players that do well in a system, but once they're out of that system, they're not that dog or that beast that they were previously. Right. I want to get take from all of you. Like, as far as the no huddle offense, this is what brought me to it. Like, you got drafted by the Miami Dolphins, 5th round, if I'm not mistaken, which is awesome, and that's an accomplishment in itself. Do you think at that level, like, some coaches are looking for a particular guy to fit a system, or are they looking for talent? Or it might be a mix of the two, but, like, what does that landscape look like?
At that fifth round?
No, just in general. Just in general. Because I imagine
I don't think you could generalize it, though, right? Because I think in the first round, it's always
Impact.
best one off the board.
Got it.
Right? Whoever, players or teams have a needs assessment.
That's the talent.
That's the talent. No, that's what do we need on our team from a position standpoint.
And you want to get the best person available at that time.
But you will take the best person available if the need is not there, you'll just take the next best person available. And I think as you go down the draft, which is why they say, like, the Patriots are made in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round, because they do a great job of finding players late that fit their system, right?
Got it.
Anybody can draft in the 1st round, but it's, you draft Antonio Brown in the 5th, you draft Tom Brady in the 6th. Like, that's a point. I think that's a point where you start looking at needs of your team, and then trying to find somebody that you can plug and play into those needs. 100%.
It's chess.
Got it.
Granted, I didn't make it to the NFL, but when you're looking at those 5th, 6th, 7th round guys, these are guys that are also valuable. Like, they feel a need for your team, but they're also valuable on special teams. So, like, when you start hitting that 5th round, you're, like, really drafting a guy who is going to be kind of like a glue guy, right?
Okay.
Because as a 5th round draft pick, if you're going to make the team, it's pretty much by way of special teams.
Got it.
Or unless you just come out the box, like,
balling.
and you just ball, and, like, there's injuries. So to me, it's like a if-then.
But even if you're balling, your primary role on that team
It's special teams. That's completely fair.
As a 5th round draft pick. Fifth, I would say 4th and down. Those top 3 guys, the team is going to be bend over backwards to make sure that those guys are successful.
Those
They
top
should.
3 rounds, right? Okay.
Normally, like those top 3 rounds are the guys that they're going to put investment in, right?
Gotcha.
They're going to be more patient with. 4th down, you're going to have to be able to be open to play special teams, along with trying to play at a high level at your position. But you and Damo has been in NFL camps, right? But I'm assuming your primary objective is to say, you know what, let me make sure that I'm able to perform on special teams to eventually down the road give me an opportunity to be a standout ad in individual.
Hey, man,
position.
in my case, PAT ain't going to get you on the team. The point after touchdown ain't going to get you on the team. So mine was a little bit different.
Yeah.
I had to show up on the line.
Yeah. But for JR, but for JR as a receiver,
Yeah.
like, hey, like in camp, I'm going to get receiver reps, right? But in order for me to make this team, I got to be able to be a demon on kickoff. I got to be a demon on punt. If I have punt return or kickoff return skills, I got to make sure I hone those. As opposed to being a 5th-round pick coming in saying,
You already do?
nah, gas.
Oh, okay. I was like, shit.
Indigestion.
40 plus, you get gas.
All right. I was just making sure you wasn't going to freaking croak over, man.
Don't get that shit on the mic. I don't fuck with you. Go ahead, man. But no, I think
You know what's crazy? He right though, because
Yeah.
nobody had that conversation with me.
Yeah.
And I went to the Dolphins as a 5th-round draft pick.
right.
I had just led the nation in catches, yards.
Flexing.
I was-
No, for real,
No,
man.
but
look,
listen,
those
he's
numbers
pulling out
are
receipts.
nuts.
Listen,
Nation.
I
He's
led the
pulling out
nation.
receipts.
I was second in the
That's what he
nation in
You
catches.
doing this
right?
like Al Bundy?
No,
No,
but
I'm
check it
fucking
out.
with
He,
you.
he did a good job because he's right. And this is what I tell guys that I work with today is you have to go in with the mindset of getting on the field by any means necessary and making plays, right? So, again, I went into – nobody had this conversation with me. My agent didn't have this conversation with me. OG didn't have this conversation with me. I went there thinking the Miami Dolphins just drafted me to come in and start. That was my mindset at receiver,
At 5th round.
5th round. They just drafted me. I'm coming in to start.
But I can see that. But I hear your point.
But again, to his point, right, it's like when you get to that next level, you have to understand that you're playing a new game, right? And as a 5th-round draft pick, if somebody would have gave me that game, that knowledge, and said, listen, yes, when they put you in game in practice, catch everything, right? You're going to do that, go out, catch everything, dominate, but figure out a way to get on special teams, be happy about it, be excited about it, make any play that you can make, because the NFL is a more you can do league when it comes to being in that, 20% of the guys make 80% of the money. If you in the bottom side, you got to be a more you can do type of a person.
And then speaking of unique and like what you weren't told growing up, and it goes back to college. So take it back to college when you had 100+ catches, 1,000+ yards, and you're at the top of your game, and it was frowned upon for us to get money. Like as a whole, you would get suspended, you would get expelled, you're kicked off the team, and things have changed. And this is what you're leaning into now is the name, image, and likeliness.
Likeness?
Likeness, excuse me. And
Terramana?
He would have killed you if he would have did
Yeah,
that. He would have killed us.
that's cool.
Yeah. Terramana song.
Likeness. Excuse me.
Likeness.
Hey, but the bottom line is JR is innovating in that space. And I would love to talk about that and some of the things that are showing up present now that the OG should be telling the young bucks.
Yeah, man. I mean, you make a good point, right? So we go to college to make money. I don't care if you're an athlete or if you're, one of Damien's daughters, right? Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day,
Stay away from them athletes.
stay away from the athletes.
But no, you're right. We're there to make money.
Right.
That's the goal.
But there's a
Or
4
increase your earnings, right?
no, to earn. I mean,
if
you don't
you
make
want to call it that, yeah.
I mean, I think personally you go to college to get a degree so that you can get the best job possible.
But as an athlete, are you doing that?
No, I think he's saying either way. If you're
Either
focused
way.
on athletics
Yes.
or academics, that's
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the athlete's not going
No,
to
but
college.
let them
But
sit
you're
there.
still going to make money, is my point, right? We're using this 4 to 5 year window to position ourselves to make as much money as possible, right? But the reality is college teaches us how to be employees, right? So we go to school. When we get out of school, we're doing what? We're applying for jobs. We're trying to build our resume. We're trying to network. We're trying to get internships. We are trying to get hired. NIL is different. And this is the piece of the conversation that I'm so excited about, because name, image, and likeness is not about getting a job. It's about operating a business.
Building your brand.
Building your brand. It's a business of you, right? So if you can get somebody to pay you to post on social media or to sign autographs or to make an appearance, that's not a job.
So just real quick, can we talk about NIL 5 years ago and how it was frowned upon, and NIL now, just to give, like, so people understand, like, the from to?
Yeah, so NIL was, we all have name, image, and likeness. Everybody in the country has the ability to generate revenue from they have the name and image and likeness that can generate revenue. In college, you couldn't do it, right? So what the university would do is they would use your name, image, and likeness to generate revenue.
Selling jerseys like crazy, huh?
Selling jerseys. I have tickets from my senior year where they put, my name and my picture on the ticket.
Flex.
Right. So it's
that was
flex.
No, listen,
Jay, that was a flex.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, right? Like name, image, and likeness.
Autographs,
memorabilia. If I would have signed a pair of game-worn cleats and sold it to the highest bidder, I would have been suspended.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But now you can do it, right? Because you can, as a college student, you can generate revenue from your name, image, and likeness.
Yeah,
Imagine
I like that.
having one of those green Notre Dame jerseys right now and selling it.
ask Darcy.
I know that's
Oh,
my
no,
point. That's
absolutely.
my point.
Uh-huh.
Like, yo, like, it's, to your point, like, you got like one of those authentic green Notre Dame jerseys. It's insane what somebody would pay for those.
Yeah. And then so, JR, from there, there's this space where players get paid. And it's crazy because Herman sent us a post where the kid from, I'm pretty sure he's from California, going to Tennessee.
Yep.
And overnight, he went from, let's call it, I don't know the exact number, $80,000 to $800,000 off of NIL after he signed with Tennessee. And there's a point of like money management and why that's important in financial literacy, and that's the space that you're in. Can you talk to people about like what's important about that?
Yeah, so if you really break it down, right, there's really only two ways that we can earn money, right? Somebody can pay you as an employee to do a job,
Right.
or you can sell goods and services as an entrepreneur, right? So one of them is you're generating salary. Another one is you're generating revenue. So employee, entrepreneur. And again, I think it's really important for us to really lean into the difference between the two, because the IRS looks at it differently, right?
Absolutely.
Your employee money is looked at completely differently
Absolutely.
than your revenue. So I think student athletes who are now generating good money from their name, image, and likeness, from their business of me, their revenue, we need to teach guys and gals what it means to receive revenue as an entrepreneur. And then what's next, right? So how do you spend as an entrepreneur, save as an entrepreneur? What does it mean to invest as an entrepreneur? How do you pay taxes as an entrepreneur? And then how do you do your best job to increase your personal net worth through your entrepreneurial activities?
So with that, like, that's awesome, right? Because I think just financial literacy in general is good, whether you're the entrepreneur or, like, because everybody's not an entrepreneur. But in this case,
it's just money.
Absolutely. What would the difference be? So let's play the scenario out in the example that he just gave of like, okay, this kid signs at Tennessee, right? He went from, what do they call it, 5-star recruits?
Yeah.
5-star. Now he's getting the bag, basically, right? What would be the first step for him as like, all right, your NIL is going to shoot through the roof. this is what you should probably do first. What does that look like?
So let's talk about this in two contexts. Damien's favorite word.
You stole it from me.
So if I get hired by Intuit, and Intuit says I'm going to pay you $800,000 a year to work for me, what does that look like? Think about it, right? So I go on payroll. I'm going to gross $800,000, but they're going to take federal taxes, state taxes, 401k, and then I'm going to end up with whatever is left in my bank account, right?
Right.
Now, if I make $800,000 as this store that we're sitting in, if I sell $800,000 of merchandise, are they going to take federal taxes, state taxes out of my $800,000? No. As a business, I get to take all my expenses out, and then I get taxed on profit, right?
Right.
So again, from an athlete standpoint who is in a name, image, and likeness business, you have to know the difference between how you're earning your money, because the next step is very important, right?
Okay.
So when you earn money as an employee, it's gross, net, and then you spend, save, invest, whatever you have left over, free and clear. As a business, you earn, and then it's expenses, right? And then it's profit, and then you pay taxes on profit. And now as a person, you can take over whatever post-tax profits you have and spend, save, invest as a person. So it's really just important to understand that there's a distinct difference between earning, spending, saving, investing as an entrepreneur and earning, spending, saving, investing as an employee.
So then when I sign at Tennessee, you're saying I come to Athlete LLC and we automatically build this business and brand,
Exactly.
right? Like Cain brand,
Yep.
right? Like I'm this star quarterback. Now let's build this LLC that's called, let's call it Cain.
Yep.
And then from there, that's when you kind of come in and help the athlete out, build this, be able to better financially handle the business rather than being a employee and being on a salary.
Exactly. So I always say in business, there's two sides. There's business of industry, which is how do we generate revenue?
Okay.
Again, this store generates revenue by selling merchandise, by selling stuff online. If you're a coffee shop, you generate revenue by selling coffee, by selling muffins, by selling bagels. From an NIL perspective, your business of industry is selling your name, image, and likeness. So getting paid for appearances, getting paid for card signings, endorsements, right? That's one piece of the puzzle. The other piece of the puzzle is the business of business. So what does that mean? That's like legal, accounting, bookkeeping, right? Like how do I organize my business of business so that I maximize my business of industry? And, you know, people talk a lot about like, you know, Donald Trump and he don't pay taxes and he don't do this. Well, the reality is Donald Trump's business of industry is real estate, but he's very intentional about his business of business, which is managing his tax liability, operating out of certain entities that allow him to be more efficient.
Playing the game.
He's playing the game, right? So you got to know the game. You got to know you're playing a game. You got to know the rules to the game. And then you put yourself in the best position to win the game that you're playing.
Man, who's the person that's actually figuring out these evaluations on players? Like
That's a really good question,
when I
dude.
look at what is the Mannings? Whatever
Not
the-
Cooper.
The Manning, whatever he
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
When they say he's worth $1 million, right? Prior, like I don't know what deals he has in place, but who is the person that's making that decision to say this is what he's worth?
Right now, it's like crypto. Crypto is worth whatever we think it's worth.
Right.
A real business is based off of metrics, revenue,
Profit.
EBITDA, profit, right? So again, I think this NIL space is still trying to define itself.
Because it's so new.
Because it's so
It's
new.
a startup.
It's crypto.
So as a parent, right? How do I negotiate that? Like, so how do I say?
Do you
You
push
know what,
the
my
needle?
kid? No. So my kid is. So you guys are telling me my kid is worth $1.2 million, right? Now, how do you think, just arbitrarily, like how do you think that equates into the decision of my kid going to Tennessee or USC?
So I think from an NIL perspective, there's two things that we're looking at. We're looking at the value of the kid on the field,
Yeah.
right? So donors and like how much can this kid actually bring to the university,
Yeah,
and
help
then
us win.
therefore, how much is he worth, right? But if you look at it from like an influencer standpoint, Desi Banks, social
Tell us.
media
Yeah,
comedian,
yeah.
Oh, the comedian. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you look at Desi Banks, he has 4 million followers on Instagram. It's pretty easy for Desi Banks to say, hey, based off of the amount of followers I have, if you want me to promote or market a product for you,
This is the price.
this is the price, right?
Yeah.
And so there's two sides of this puzzle for athletes. One side is getting figured out, which is what's my on-the-field value. The other side has already been kind of figured out. Like if I have $250,000 followers, I'm probably 10 times more valuable than somebody who has 25,000.
And then
Yeah.
JR, the other way I look at it is there's data behind whose jersey's being sold now. And it's the name on the back of the jersey too. And there's UPCs getting scanned to saying JR Tolver jersey just sold. Another one just sold. And like that's how they knew Colin Kaepernick's jersey was the highest grossing jersey in the NFL at one point, right?
Right.
And it's no different in the NIL space. So you have that, and then you have your appearances, and then you have your production on the field. Because if you're winning, your NIL goes way up.
100%.
And let's say you're going to a major bowl game, it goes way up. And that doesn't even count the social part of it.
So wait, real quick. I love that you said that because therein lies the difference, like when you're playing for a professional team versus college, right?
Yep.
What he just described is that, hey, when I go to the Nikes, et cetera, I have these contracts. When I go to a team, there's contracts, a bargaining agreement. The NCAA is going to have to figure that part out, right? Because you described it perfectly. I signed a Tennessee quarterback. I signed for, well, not signed for, but my NIL came in at a certain level.
Yep.
Now we win the championship, it goes up. So it's like now, fam, all right, if you want to keep me, for real, no, if you want to keep me, like, yo, what's that dotted, the bottom line look like? It got to go up now. It's nothing but up.
Absolutely.
So how is that
it's
going to
like
play?
art. Think about it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
how's that going to play in the college space of like, yo, I was playing here for 1 year. Now we could probably create a super team. Like our best quarterback, best wide receiver,
Hit
and
the
running
transfer
back.
portal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's worth what somebody's willing to pay for it.
All right.
It is.
All right.
And then you get into the conversation about winning and like what's the value that you put on winning. Like let's say, and we keep using the Tennessee analogy of, let's say you were 500 and then this quarterback comes in and now you're 10-2 and you're at the Cotton Bowl and you were the starting quarterback. You can project not project like, hey, the number, but you can say this is what I'm worth.
Man, Damo, better
I know who you're going to bring him
better
up.
example, Johnny Manziel.
What? Not even that. What about Deshaun Watson? I hate to bring him up because what's going on right now, but Deshaun Watson is like a perfect example of that, right?
No, killer.
You think Johnny Manziel?
Better.
But he didn't win a bowl.
Yes, he did.
Did
When
he?
Johnny Manziel beat Alabama. When Texas A&M
did
beat
beat Alabama.
Alabama, when they were calling Johnny Manziel
Money Manziel.
Johnny Football,
I thought it was Money Manziel, but
No,
okay.
they were calling
That
him.
was his moniker, but
got
it was
it.
Johnny Football.
Got it.
But when at Texas A&M, they called that kid Johnny Football. At Texas A&M, and he came in. He wasn't nowhere near a 5-star athlete, was he?
No, 3,
3-star.
3,
athlete.
4.
Yeah.
Comes in there, ends up starting, beats Alabama. Now, as you said, the stock goes up, and the exposure. They were talking about the amount of money that Johnny Manziel jerseys were earning while he was at
One of the
Texas A&M.
biggest stadiums in college football.
In one of the most crazed football communities
12.
in
Ever.
the entire country.
The original 12,
1,000%.
And one of the
Texas-
richest states in the
Absolutely.
country.
Yo, Johnny Manziel's story is the best story in terms of how you want
That
to
is a perfect-
connect NIL to an athlete in terms of what, because in Texas, even in the state of Texas at high school, that kid was a legend.
Yeah,
Absolutely. man.
And
That's
so-
a great
no,
analogy.
great analogy.
Can we fact check the Johnny Manziel star situation? Can we get one of your daughters to
or anybody?
somebody Google
Yeah, can you go?
Anybody Google
Mike.
Johnny Manziel
Mike,
star?
Google
Mike.
Yeah.
Johnny Manziel star.
What a
Who's
fact
that?
check.
So,
Like, was he a 3-star or something?
I think so. We're talking about NIL on the surface as an individual, and there's NIL as an umbrella, and there's something really important about NIL as an umbrella and how it's gonna push the way that college sports exist.
yeah.
And let me give you one example, or 2 examples. I'm going to give you like 2 sides of the spectrum. Hey, coach, you made $8 million this year. Well, I made 10. You can't tell me shit, right? That's an extreme,
That is.
right? And like I think
And
about
will
like
happen, though.
it will happen. I
will
guarantee you. I guarantee it'll happen. And then the other side, actually, there's 3 sides. The other side is in the locker room, and how, it's like, Mr. Quarterback, hey, dude, you're eating ramen noodles. I'm going to Ruth Chris every night, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then the other side of it is your family. And what do you like? How do you tell you're 18, 19, 20 years old? How do you say no to your family that's done everything for you up to this point? And like you have, to JR's point, you have $800,000 coming in. You're not thinking about taxes and liabilities at 18 and 19 years old. And then next thing you know, you're in an MC Hammer situation
No, absolutely.
and you owe taxes out the ass. So how do you navigate all those situations? And I know, and
Are you
I'm
asking me?
you're
no,
That's
no,
a
it's
complicated
no,
question.
No,
No, that was he
Damo.
threw a lot at
no.
you.
I'm not looking.
You're just
for
saying
you.
as a discussion.
Yeah.
It's a discussion of
you're
how you
spot
look,
on.
and there's probably even more use cases. Those are the ones that just came to my
You're
head.
spot on.
Well, that's
But that's what happens in the league if you think about it.
it does.
Right?
It
It's the
does.
exact same thing, except for now, everything that you just described, which usually happens to the 21, 22, 23-year-old draft pick, is now going to happen to this 17, 18, 19-year-old
Oh, yeah.
kid.
Absolutely.
So
And I think
I'm sorry.
no, you're good. That's difficult. Like this, so that's the trade-off, right? That's what we've asked for
Sure.
on the other side because it was so lopsided towards
Yes.
the university. Now
Deal
we're
with
in this wild, wild west
with it.
of like, okay, what the hell is NIL?
Yeah.
And no, you're right
Sauce
though.
to deal with.
You got to
Hey.
deal with it, and it's like there has to be. You're gonna have to find those regulations and rules on what that looks like moving forward.
Yeah, and JR, I would love for you to give us like 2 or 3 tips. Like, let's say there's a kid watching this, and they have the potential to have an NIL opportunity. What's 2 or 3 things that you would tell them to say, hey, watch out for these things, or make sure you take care of these things?
I mean, the first thing I tell guys and gals that I'm working with is delineate, separate, draw a hard line between your business and your personal.
It's hard.
No, it's not.
Oh, no.
It's actually
coming because of your business.
it's actually easy.
That work is coming because of your business.
But you got to do it, right? So what does that mean? Like, how do I draw a line between my business and my personal? If you're gonna make NIL money, let's say you don't have an LLC.
Okay.
Open up a separate bank account. Drop that check in that separate bank account.
But are groupies personal or business?
There he is. There he is.
Man, what we talking about?
Is that work personal or business?
I think it depends on the location.
Hey, but listen, I'm gonna give you a very technical answer. And if you're watching this as a kid, I want you to understand this, right? So the IRS doesn't tell us what's personal or business. This is what they tell us. And if you don't believe me, Google Section 162 IRS tax code.
Oh, he flexing.
Throw it.
I know what I'm
Talk to
doing
him.
over here.
It says anything that's ordinary, necessary, and reasonable for your business is tax deductible.
Oh, so I can write off.
You can't.
Hey.
If it's
They can.
That's part of your business, man. So you can write them out.
So check
You
it
can
out.
write off
No,
the word.
JR, go
If
deeper
you
on
using,
it. Go
if you
deeper.
using, I'm not gonna call them groupies, but if you using women
Escorts.
to elevate your brand, that becomes an expense of your business.
Fellas, you can write them.
No,
write-
that's not what he
write
said.
that-
I did not say that.
Hey, and Courtney, just so you know,
Hey, throw them in a commercial with a couple pom-poms. Yeah, you're good. You can write that
Courtney.
off, yo.
just so you know, cash transactions don't work.
Don't use cash.
Well, no, they use the Cash App now. So
No,
they got
it doesn't
receipt.
work.
Even worse.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't. The Cash App receipt.
Because look, as a business, you have to be able to say, this was ordinary, necessary, and reasonable for my business, and
Okay.
here's why, right?
I got you.
So I get off the plane today, and Damo takes me to eat, right? I show up in Denver today for the podcast. The podcast is a business, right?
Hard to work.
So Damien picks me up. I was gonna say the gas he uses, but he has a Tesla. So the electricity he uses to get to that's technically a business expense.
Man, Damo, he
right.
did you a favor. Man. Instead of you flexing, he flexed for you.
He did, man.
Anyway,
It's
keep
a
going.
nice Tesla,
keep going.
too.
Keep going.
The restaurant that he takes me to, he buys me tacos. We have a couple of beers. It's a business expense, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, never take nobody out for sushi.
Per
Either
diem.
wings or
That's part of
taco.
per diem.
It's for the podcast, right? So again, like, it's up to us as business owners to understand what's ordinary, necessary, and reasonable for our operation, and then it's also up to us to track it and reconcile it, just so that if we get audited and somebody says, "Man, you spent $6,000 on meals and entertainment," Damo's like, "Yeah, I did, because JR came in town one week, Chauncey Billups came in town another week, Lindell White came in town another week. Every time those guys come in town, I take them out. These are all Denver legends, right?
No, absolutely.
Every time I take them out,
No, we got you.
I gotta be able to say, like, this was a business expense because it was for this.podcast, you know?
I'm feeling you, man. So you're the whole. I love what you're throwing down. The whole model is like, you are a business, so
Yep.
treat it as such.
Treat it as such.
All the way down the line.
1,000%.
So when I'm
Even the things that are feeding you.
yeah, that's what I mean. So if you're buying shoes, workout gear, all that builds your brand and your business. Expense it as such.
Now, listen, this isn't tax advice, right? So I would encourage people to get a CPA or
Okay.
a tax attorney and make sure that the things that they think are ordinary, necessary, and reasonable for their business are actually allowed to take deductions for.
But you're going down that route, right? Because you're going to Villanova University for your tax. What is it again?
Yeah, my master's in tax.
Master in
Yeah.
tax law. There you go.
Tax law, right? Or is it just
Technically, you have to be a lawyer to get a JD,
okay?
which I'm not a lawyer,
Got it.
but I'm going to get a master's in tax, which gives me a basis of certification in these
Which
tax
a lot of people
concepts.
Yeah.
Tax.
Absolutely. I think our friend has one. We'll
But
call him out.
so the question, I want to take a turn to black colleges. And especially with the fact that we just had recently, Dion landed one of the top recruits in the nation.
Love it.
To come to
Shout
Jackson
out.
State. How does NIL play in that space?
Woo.
So if you ask Dion, and if you ask the kid, I can't think of his name right now, he'll say it didn't play a role. Like the guys at Alabama will say the kid went to Jackson State because he got NIL money, and Dion is saying, and the kid is saying, where's the money at? Because I don't know what you're talking about, right? But I do think that, to your point, yeah, man, the ability to go to a place that will compensate you based off of your name, image, and likeness, it's going to change the way that college football is done. You'll start seeing more 5-star recruits go to places where they feel appreciated, where they feel supported, and where they feel like, man, this is a great place for me to start my career as an entrepreneur.
This helps black college.
I absolutely think it does, as long as because NIL is really like a little bit of a give and take, right? So if I generate name, image, and likeness revenue, it's because I'm doing something in exchange, and it's not based on football. That's the spirit of it, right? So I'm going to go to this school, and this car dealership is going to give me name, image, and likeness money because I'm going to promote their dealership. Yep. That's really the spirit of NIL.
Yeah.
If communities that are around these colleges buy into that, then Spelman, Morehouse, Grambling, Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, some of these smaller schools, I think, can really start competing with some of these bigger schools if the business community in those communities buy into the fact that NIL can help them grow their business, and therefore they'll invest in those student athletes.
Yeah, because it'll definitely help, right? And you got to stick it out, because there could be that you're getting money from when you're using your NIL, you're getting money from the dealerships in the community, but the games and the impact that you see your peers, like when they go to Alabama and stuff, might not match up. Right. So you have to have the right mentality to be like, all right, okay, I'm not really getting the fame, I'm not on the ESPN, etc., but like this is good for the community, and I do have that appreciation, right? Like,
absolutely,
they love me wherever I'm at, whether it's Jackson State, Cheney, Howard, etc. Like, it can happen. I hope it does.
Yeah, but the ill thing about it is now I can start to get these NIL deals, right? And then the more 5-star athletes that start to go to these black colleges,
it elevates it.
Yeah, elevates them. So then now, for example, that's why Nick Saban had his
rant.
Oh yeah, he was heated.
Because now it's like, okay, now, because
it's like, hey, you took my lunch money. That's in essence what
absolutely.
it was. Yeah,
exactly. And for a young African American male, like, how can you turn down Jackson State if you know that you can earn money to go in regard to going there
and play for Dion
and play for Dion, and Jackson State is starting to get more national exposure.
Yeah,
and you can get NIL off of that.
I'm going.
That's hard.
I'm going.
Yo, that's hard to deal with.
Because, fam, why are you even going to Alabama? Like, that's it.
That's it.
It's not to hang out and have a good time.
It might be. Everybody's value set. And, like, that's what I want to tap into is, like, NIL and value set, right? So, for example, promote tobacco.
Okay.
Would you do it?
I wouldn't.
Promote Mad Dog 2020.
I'll promote it. I'll promote anything that want to.
No. See, that's what I'm saying. Like my kid. My kid. If they were in it, no, we're having a conversation about like what aligns with our family values. No, I swear to God.
So if Marlboro show up and tell you
who
Marlboro or Cool Filter Kings,
hard pass,
give you $2 million.
Hard pass.
What? $8 million.
To promote something that we don't even use?
$8 million.
Why would they do that?
They wouldn't even show him smoking, but just to be.
Damo is taking that.
You taking the.
I'm asking the sisters. Are you taking that deal? Yeah, talk to
Yeah.
him.
Hey, and this, in all fairness,
Hey, ain't nothing you can say about
in all,
it. They're gonna buy you a Benz. and
in
you
all
gonna be quiet.
fairness,
They're like, all right.
this is my 43-year-old self talking. You know what I'm saying? And
It's
and not-
hard.
yeah, and I'm not 19 and 17. But like there has to be a values alignment with like what comes with NIL. You know what I'm saying?
But he brings up a good point because that's an 18-year-old, right? That's talking about.
No value. Marlboro comes to me and offers me 100,000.
You taking it?
I'm taking it.
What?
This
As a
podcast, bussin'.
I can't say that with full confidence,
As
man.
a
I don't know.
parent, you mean to tell
That'd be
me
hard, man.
when they bring the bag,
JR, what are you doing?
That doesn't line up with our morals.
What are you doing?
Listen, these are the conversations I have with guys, right? It's like you have to align your name, image, and likeness to the things that you are comfortable living forever.
Yeah.
It's your values.
It's your values, right?
We're
And so-
representing that. Yeah.
So you'll know if you decide to choose the $100,000 over your value set, you are actively, consciously making that choice. But at the end of the day, I would suggest align your values with the deals that you do. And it's hard to turn down the money, but also money will come and go anyway.
You know what's so? Go ahead.
Poverty for the. I mean,
That's true.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
saying
it.
it's- I'm not saying it's easy.
I'm
Absolutely.
talking to Damo. I'm talking to Damo. Like,
I agree.
Granted,
That's tough.
Damo's situation is different based off of the hard work that you put in over your
Yeah.
lifetime to create a certain type of environment for your family. So you have the room to say,
I do.
what, it has to align with my moral values. However, even though something may not align with your moral values, that bread,
You gotta get the bag.
All right, so
sometimes.
let me ask you this.
you got to get the bag.
Because
Hey,
you're right.
wait,
You're right.
You
You
get
never
your morals
been.
the
Jay.
second time, huh?
You
Jay.
never been in that
I'm
situation.
going to take the money first,
Tito.
and then I'll
Jay.
go back to the morals.
But real quick. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you go.
I just got one.
There I go.
I just got one for you. So they said, hey, champ, pose in these tighty whities. What you gonna do?
How much?
He wears drawers anyway. Ain't like they're chasing the pros and panties.
Oh, what if they did? What if they asked that?
But they not.
They wouldn't do that.
Why
They
wouldn't
do
they?
that. They wouldn't
That's
do
not
that.
realistic, man.
Nah.
Why isn't it?
Because they're not
In the
acting-
world that we live in today,
They're not asking athletes to do that today.
to pose in Hanes?
Yeah,
That's not what
posing
you
that.
said. You said
No, yeah.
you said panties.
he
Just
said
trying to win
panties.
right
Yeah,
now.
I said, yeah, they're not
said
going to ask
panties.
them to pose in panties. So if you
Oh,
wanna
got it.
pose in some tighty whities,
But why wouldn't you do it
no, he would do it.
for $100,000
Pose in what?
for some
Tidy
panties?
whities?
No.
Fam, I would do that for 20 grand. What makes you? I'd do that for $100, man. Be like, you want me to pose in some underwear?
Asked him to pose in some tighty whities, he would do it. Cause
I would do that.
no. The funny thing about it, I watched the doc on Abercrombie and Fitch
Okay.
on Netflix,
Yeah.
and dude, that's what they were doing there. They were going to get 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds to
Posing.
modeling, you know. What
Fam, that's what
Briefs.
Michael just came from a modeling shoot not too long ago in your briefs.
He had no problem in his briefs.
Man.
No, he said I
And
ain't
his
even.
idolized
he
hat.
said I ain't even taking my shirt off.
We had to tell.
He said I got
He had his
We had to-
t-shirt with his bottoms on.
Yeah.
We had to tell Michael, like, look, man, make sure you are really looking over the contracts. Make sure you are really watching and listening to the information you're getting, man, and don't be stirred in the wrong direction, man.
Yeah, because you don't know what could happen. But JR, so I want to play a little bit, all right? So if we could go back and say y'all all had y'all NIL, right?
Ooh.
What would be the sponsorship for my guy over here to the right? For Damo.
No,
for
go
Damo?
with
Damo.
his first. Go with his first.
We'll go
his
with you
be.
last?
No, I want to know what his would have been in San Diego.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And then he can get at me like whatever.
It's actually easier for me to go to Damo.
I know.
All right, go.
I know,
Go.
because
But let me-
everybody know
I'll
what
take
he would
you-
be.
Yeah, but let me think. So I love
America's Bar and Grill.
Popeyes.
Hey, we out here. Hey, we be at the podcast. Everybody be full.
Yo, fam, could you imagine what that commercial looked like, man, if Damo was in there?
man.
Somebody ordering some chicken and he just come out of nowhere and
Out of
tackle him.
nowhere, boom. Hey,
me my 12
like the
piece.
office linebacker. That's what I'll be like.
I love cars, man. Like my dad was a career car salesman, general manager. Cars have gotten me in a little bit of trouble over the years.
Oh yeah.
Got it.
love cars, man.
Sports?
So,
Like sports cars?
man, sport cars, SUVs.
Porsche 911.
I'm not really a big Porsche guy, but I love Beamers. I love Tahoes, and I love cars.
Got it.
So for me, I think my NIL would have been based around some sort of like car sponsorship, just because number one, I love cars. Number two,
You was a receiver. It seemed like you was sporty.
I was a receiver, so you got a little bit of glitz and glam
Yeah.
there. But
You
also,
around that TV era too.
what's
like,
that?
Like that TV in the Suburban.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You remember like
Yeah.
in the early 2000s.
Hey, the
like,
subwoofers in the back.
the pixelated
Oh,
version.
listen.
the PlayStations.
Yeah.
The PlayStations in the car.
No, absolutely.
TV in the headrest of the driver's side.
So JR, what would have been mine?
It would have
we
been
already-
something food for sure.
Yeah.
Probably like I can't think of a national.
Popeye.
It's
That's funny,
Damien a
man.
griller, bro. Like
He is a griller.
he all about that grill. So it probably would have been like
The green bean, is that what they call
Kraft,
that?
like Kraft barbecue sauce or something. It would have been something.
Okay, that's fair.
No, what's that?
Don't let him fool you.
What's that green?
But Damien
grill?
a griller though.
Yeah,
Bro,
not
Damien
a
took a
kimono.
whole slab of ribs on an international trip that I took. We showed up in the Airbnb. They didn't even call it Airbnb back then, and Damien pulled a whole slab of ribs out of his back. Out of his back.
Hold on,
Me and
you
Rudy.
traveled with some ribs.
With a whole
with a slab of ribs.
Slabs, plural.
Yeah, listen.
Plural.
Fam,
I ain't never seen nothing like it before.
Plural.
Why?
Because you didn't get in the DR.
So you brought ribs with
They
you.
were frozen. I wrapped them up. We popped them out. Them things is ready to go.
Wait, were they in the cooler that entire flight,
No,
or
they were frozen hard. You wrap them in a towel. They were just as frozen as when I took them out the freezer.
They were smuggling slabs of ribs.
Hell
that
yeah.
didn't go through customs?
Absolutely, they didn't care.
They didn't care.
Hold on.
They started speaking in Spanish. It's just like this motherfucker
Custom
right
will let
here.
So
Custom says soil, flowers, and money and livestock.
Livestock, yeah.
They don't say nothing.
livestock.
No, I didn't.
No,
It was
it
dead.
wasn't
No,
it was
alive.
dead.
It's dead.
Dead stock,
And
yeah.
butchered.
But I'm with you, Cole.
Hey.
That's nuts.
And tell
That is
hey,
nuts.
tell
This
him-
is
This
a clip.
Slabs of
Listen.
ribs out of his bag.
I'm glad you said
from
that.
Sam's Club and tell him how you were smacking your lips when you was
Oh,
eating
they was
it.
bomb.
It was good.
Oh.
Well, you had to eat them, but I mean, God, my man brought slabs of ribs.
Slabs of ribs.
Hey, me and
grilled 'em.
Rudy both brought 3 slabs.
Yeah.
We ate
Can you
good.
imagine what that looks like? Yeah, I got 3 bags.
Hey.
What's in this one, sir?
So
Just a
what-
slab of
What
ribs.
would Courtney's NIL be? You go, Jay.
man.
No, Jay, you get to call what his NIL would be.
What would Cole's NIL? I think Cole would be. That's a great one, man. Let me think. It would be some with some in the '90s, like Tim's or something like
No,
that.
man, fuck that.
I don't know. Let Damo call it.
Hey,
Damo gotta say
reading is fundamental.
Yep. Education.
Hell yeah! This is
Educate-
hey
I wanna
kids,
educate
bring
kids
bring
out
your
here.
bring your books out. We gonna read.
Damo.
Let me tell you what happens on Sesame Street.
I'm in the feeding
That's
brains. Hey,
silly.
Hey,
That's silly.
I'm totally okay with feeding brains and feeding calories. Brains and calories.
This podcast, bussin'.
Hey, mine would have been Tyson Chicken by far, second to none.
yeah.
By far.
Hey, no, and like Sam's Club,
Boston Market.
because they were
Costco.
no Sam's Club and Costco.
Boston Market.
He would have been Boston Market.
That is
fan.
a good
Rotisserie
one.
chicken. Let's
Damo would
go.
have been sitting there with one of them.
Hey, that's a good one.
He would have been Boston
That's
Market.
a good
yeah.
one.
Hey, with the squiggly mac and cheese, whatever that shit is.
And the mashed potatoes.
That is a good
He'd be like, get them damn greens out of here.
Hey,
man.
y'all have been over my house
And
every
cornbread.
day. Like, what's cracking?
bad and full, huh?
Yeah.
Oh man, let's get back to you, JR. Thanks for indulging in that. But I was gonna ask you. So financially, what would you say like the difference? And it seems like this is obvious, but I'll let you answer it. Somebody getting an agent versus coming to you.
That's a really good question. So again, I think business is two-sided. Business of business, business of industry. Agents will help you generate business of industry revenue. That's not what Athlete LLC does. We help you organize yourself in a way to receive efficiently and effectively and to deploy efficient and effectively business revenue. So I'm business of business. Athlete LLC is business of business. A marketing agent, a sports agent, they're more business of industry focused.
Got it.
Can I?
This guy is good. This guy's good.
Yeah.
He was ready for that one.
So I want you to tell the story about the business canvas. So you started the business canvas, and then what you learned in the process along that.
Yeah, if you look at business school, right, you get a business. I have a business degree. You go to school and you get an MBA, right? All of those credentials are teaching you business of industry. How do you market your business? How do you build your brand? How do you convert more sales? What type of business budget do you need to grow your business, right? These are all things that are putting you in position to succeed from a business of industry standpoint. Business of business never shows up on a business canvas. I went to one of the best business schools in the country, Babson, for a executive degree, right? I went back and looked at that business canvas. Nowhere does it show you what does it mean on a day-to-day basis to operate a business.
Wow.
But JR, how did you learn that?
By being in business.
Where?
In Panama.
There you go. Tell that story.
Yep. So I started a business in Panama, and
Keys.
I wasn't. Hey, the crazy part, I saw.
Man, what we talking about?
Now we get into it. Sauce.
Yeah,
There we go.
I got a story about that. I'll leave that for another day.
Yeah, to get my shit off the ground, man, I had to hit the block a couple times, man.
Hey,
You
Missy,
have to get the little scorpions on the.
gotta fund it to fund it. You know what I mean? No. So I go to Panama. I had a waste and recycling company.
Okay.
I had a facility. I had trucks. I had employees. But it was expensive. So I had to raise money. So I raised a little over $1 million to this recycling company. But I had to create a business plan, right? So I used my business canvas to create a business plan, and that business plan attracted investors, right? So then we're off and running. I get to Panama. We're running the business. We're picking up cardboard. We're having employees. We're doing the damn thing. We're driving revenue. But I didn't know business of industry. Sorry, I didn't know business of business. So I had an investor come out to look at the facility because I was trying to get him to invest more capital into the business. So I'm showing him like, man, I got cardboard stacked up here. We got these contracts. This is what we're selling it for. And he was like, man, this looks really good. He's standing in the middle of my facility. He said, what is your receivables, not your receivables, what does your payables look like right now? Like, who do you owe money to, right? So I said, oh, easy. I got that right now. So I pulled out my phone, and on my notepad in my phone, I owe Jim $1,000. I owe the commercial real estate company, $2,000.
Absolutely.
And I showed it to him. I was like, easy. Here. He's like, that's how you keeping your financials? Never heard from him again, right? So business of business is really about making sure you have a place to house your debits and credits from a business standpoint. Yeah. You need to be able to produce a profit and loss statement. You need to be on demand. You need to be able to produce a balance sheet.
I just heard that.
You need to be able to produce
weekend,
a cash flow statement. You need to be able to produce that on demand.
I heard
and
that this Monday. Yep.
You're not operating and maximizing the infrastructure of your business of business.
Wow. Man,
This
that's game.
podcast.
Because it's funny. I was, and the reason why I said that, looking at grants from the city, P&L. Like, what's your P&L?
What's your P&L?
I didn't even know what that was. I was like, what the hell is that?
Yep.
And, I hit up my boy that's in the business to tell me the profit and loss, right?
Yep.
Profit and loss.
And I was just like, dang, I got a lot of work to do. Business of business, because that's like the operations,
That's the
right?
operations.
That's the operations.
Yep.
Minus of revenue, profit, looking at the market value. How is your operation running?
Exactly.
And
And
that-
if you can't push a button and give that information to somebody
Instantly.
30 seconds after they ask you for it, you got to figure out how to
How to do that?
change and do something different.
No, absolutely.
And that's the journey JR and I have been on for the last 18 months.
Yep.
It's like, Damo, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. I know it's early, there's a whole bunch of stuff that we talked about, and that was one of them. And I thought that was one of the things that was most powerful that we should talk about, because when you tie it back to what we talked about earlier about Athlete LLC, so Cain LLC, Tom, Dick, and Harry LLC, you got to be able to press a button and talk about the profitability of the business of you
Or the loss.
or the loss.
This
In the first 2
podcast,
years,
bussin',
loss,
bussin'.
it's fair game.
Fair game.
No, you're right about that, man. That's a jewel right there.
And then again, like as a business, you can't manage your tax liability unless you are managing your debits and credits in real time.
Got it.
Like you don't know how much you owe in taxes unless you know how much profit you have. Businesses don't get taxed on loss. We get taxed on profit, right? So again, like
Right.
the ability to, on a transaction by transaction, daily basis, constantly building that profit and loss statement, that balance sheet, that cash flow statement, intentionally. If you're not doing that, I don't care what you say, you are not a business. And I tell my guys, I'm like, this is what Jay-Z meant when he said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a business man. That's what that means. It's
Absolutely.
not sexy, but it is what it is.
No, that's dope.
So, like, with that being said, like, how do we view, like, well, for me, I don't have an issue with that at all, right? So, a lot of people say, Russell Wilson, right? That's kind of corny and shit like that. But I really think he's doing exactly what you're saying. He's looking at himself as a brand. He's looking at himself as a business, right? And everything that I'm doing is intentional, right? And a lot of the criticism that he gets and the feedback that he gets is they say he's corny because a lot of the things that he does, especially in terms of how he articulates himself in the media, in terms of how he shapes how he's viewed in the world, right? It matters to him, right? They feel like he's inauthentic, right? And it's like it's obvious what you're doing, right? Is that frowned upon?
Again, man, I think it goes back to the fundamentals of just separating business from personal. Can one of you guys grab my wallet over there, like on the table there?
Oh shit!
Oh shit! You about to
2,000, about 2,000
pull out a
in there.
black card?
So again,
It's about 20,000 in there.
Yeah.
when I say being intentional,
Make sure you give him his change back, baby.
being intentional is knowing the difference between business and personal, right? That's what being intentional means. So for me, if you're talking about Russell Wilson has a brand.
Yep.
That brand, if you go onto his social media, it makes money. He sells merchandise, he gets appearances. But if Russell Wilson isn't separating intentionally his business from his personal, he's not getting all the benefits that businesses get, right? So I always say, I always got two cards. This is my business card. If I'm out and about, I need to have an intentional decision of, am I going to use my personal card or am I going to use my business card, right?
Got it.
And if I have cash, it's personal. I never use cash for business because how else do I track my stats? I can't, right? Maybe I can, but I can't track it to the penny, and business is tracking to the penny. So going back to your question, whether people believe Russell Wilson is corny or authentic or what have you, I'd be hard-pressed to believe that Russell Wilson doesn't have a team that's helping him separate his business from his personal and operating intentionally in both buckets.
Hey, in the spirit of
So, man,
just real quick, expanding the olive branch, what happened today between me and you?
Yeah, so we went to lunch. Damian bought me, food again, picked me up for the podcast, drove me from the airport.
Ribs, I get it. Yeah.
We had tacos. But look, I saw Damian, and we've had this conversation a bunch. Mm-hmm. Damian pulled out his card, and he paid for it, as well as he should have. He didn't bring me no snacks to the car, so I felt like he owed me. He paid for it, and I looked at his card, and it was his business debit card. That's perfect, right? Because now him paying for my food, our food, was ordinary, necessary, and reasonable for his business. So now those expenses, he doesn't have to pay taxes on them. They're tax deductible, right? But again, you have to be intentional. Every time you swipe your card, you have to think, is this a business expense or is this a personal expense? And you have to have a system that you don't have to remember it. The system takes care of itself. I was taught this system stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. Mm-hmm. You need to have a system in place that separates your business from your personal so you can get all the benefits that businesses.
Wow. That's what's up, man.
That's it.
So real quick, when are you going to join this.podcast? Because we need help with business. This was supposed to be, this was supposed to be our business guy.
I heard he doesn't show up when he's.
Yeah, man.
I heard he's spotty on.
He's supposed to be sharing all this knowledge with us.
I'll take it.
Like, where you been?
No,
bro?
To me, Damian works for the company in the country that supports small businesses better than anybody else in our country.
Does.
It's Intuit, right? So
he does do
This podcast.
Everybody but us.
Books is to me the tool. You need a bookkeeping tool. You need some tool that allows you to, on a transaction by transaction basis, monitor and track and reconcile what's going on in your business. So we have a lot of small business conversations, and hopefully Intuit jumps in and really starts supporting.
We'll edit that out.
Is it timestamp?
Your timestamp.
All right.
This podcast.
Got you, bro.
Bussin'.
Company X.
Company X.
All right. So NIL, right? We covered all that. Do you help with social media?
I don't.
All right.
Business to business, bro.
Okay.
I'm business to business.
Because I was going to ask you how you could help this.podcast as far as social media. We just can't compare with yoga pants and booty shorts. Like, we just can't do it, man. We have all this great equipment. We put our little hearts out in the editing and all that, and then Shorty just come in the bedroom, bad angle, bad lighting, and just blow up.
But I've been renewed, though.
And I can't get it, man. We can't get it. 1,000 likes. Thousands.
But I've been renewed, though. So I just it's funny you say that, Killer, because I was listening to Joe Budden podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had Earn Your Leisure on there.
I haven't saw it yet.
And the guy from Earn Your Leisure was talking about, he was like, yo, we built this platform
From a kitchen table.
From a kitchen table.
I know.
And not gossiping. Right?
Right.
Not talking about heavily controversial topics. Just giving people information that they didn't have in a very simplistic way. And I think that's where we're at, right? We want, and JR, we are so appreciative for you coming here. Especially you spending your money to actually get on a plane to come and visit with us.
Absolutely, man.
Really appreciate it, man.
It's a business expense.
I get it.
I get it. But you didn't have to come.
I get it, but you didn't have to come. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't have to say, yo, going to visit this.podcast is worth a business expense. So you sitting here right now, man, we greatly appreciate it. And thank you, Damo, for showing the great hospitality.
Absolutely, Damo.
But
you owe us.
I think that's the niche that we have. You know what I mean? Is sitting in a space where we want all of our guests to feel comfortable. We want to get the information out, and we want to highlight you. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
we don't want to have no gimmicks. Granted, we like to have fun on the show, but we're not going to go all the way left outside of our personality in order to get likes, in order to get clicks and things of that nature. Man, I think we have a really good thing going here.
Not
So,
yet, anyway. No, I'm joking.
And so JR, to close this out, we always ask this question: who would you recommend to be on the show? You're around a whole bunch of talented people, and it doesn't have to be around anything specific, like NIL or small business, whatever. It's like, this is a dope person that'll add value to the conversation.
So my recommendation, I'm gonna give you two recommendations. One, most people will know,
I think I know what you're gonna say.
and one, most people won't.
Okay.
And the reason I'll give you those two recommendations is because I know these people very intimately, and I understand the value their conversation can bring to an audience. Okay, so the first one is Akbar Bajabiamila.
I knew it. Yep.
Akbar is the host of American Ninja Warrior. He's also the host of The Talk. But he comes from an immigrant family, grew up in Crenshaw, and is one of the most grounded individuals that I've ever met.
Play for the
Got
Green
it.
Bay Packers.
Well, that's his brother, Kabir.
Beer.
But Akbar played for the Raiders. He played for the Dolphins. But has
That's
been
why it
very, very,
sounds
very
familiar.
successful post NFL, and most of it has been based off of his NIL. He's just done a phenomenal job of marketing himself, putting himself in position to attract brands and businesses and corporations that value his personality and his perspective. The second person I'm going to mention is a lady by the name of Miosha Brazel. So Miosha is the mom to one of the players that I've worked with
I read it in your white
I
paper.
read it too.
on the business of business.
Read it too.
Miosha is she's a mom. She's a typical mom.
Gatekeeper.
She's smart. She wants the best for her son, right? And she has really sat in that COO position to make sure that everything that her son is doing on the field and off the field, she's helping him maximize and putting him in the best position possible. I think moms need to hear this conversation more. Because I think what happens is African Americans, we tend to give up our power too fast.
A little thirsty.
Right? So we get to the NFL or the NBA and we hire a financial advisor to become our gatekeeper.
Yep.
Or we, hire a business manager to become our gatekeeper. Where the reality is, ain't no better gatekeeper than mama.
Yeah.
That's facts, man.
That's a fact.
Because I've seen
This
it work in a
podcast,
lot of
bussin'
situations. Like, I
bussin'.
haven't seen that situation fail.
Yep.
Because I think your mom is a different kind of love, and they're going to do everything they can, research, find somebody that can find the answer. Like, they go above and beyond.
And mama ain't going to be egotistical, right? Mama going to say,
Exactly.
if I don't know it, like, help me figure it out so that I can help my son be the best son that he
Absolutely.
Yes, because mama's putting you before herself.
can be. 1,000%.
Always that way.
Yeah.
So mama literally wants you to win. Not wanting you to win because eventually I'm a, by way of, the byproduct of whatever, the byproduct of you winning, I'm going to win. No, mama cares less if I win or not. I want my son or my daughter to win regardless.
Absolutely.
That's the best gatekeeper to have.
Appreciate it, JR.
Thanks, man. You never stumble upon the unexpected. Well, no, let's give you a round of applause first. Let's do that. Absolutely. Thank you for coming out.
Slow clap.
Slow clap.
And you never stumble upon the unexpected if you stick to the familiar. So go out there and be a businessman.
This podcast, bussin' bussin'.